Welcome back into the Alabama Football Report. I am Tom Downey, here with the latest news and rumors around the Crimson Tide. Before we get into it, if you are excited about Alabama's signing class, national signing class, I should say, for recruiting, SPAM RTR in the comment section. Whoever does it the most on today's video will get a shout out on a future one. So flood the comment section, SPAM RTR as much as you can, all in individual comments. Let's begin with the latest on Ryan Grubb, who has been linked pretty heavily to the Seahawks still open, as of filming, offensive coordinator position. Chip Kelly also getting linked to that one, which is certainly interesting as well. Grubb spoke to the Alabama Red Elephant Club on Wednesday, so boosters, he indicated he would stay at Alabama, saying, "I'm Ryan Grubb, I'm your new offensive coordinator." Now, how much does that really mean when we get into the nitty-gritty here? It would be, frankly, I think it'd be a bigger story if he wasn't doing this kind of stuff, because that means he's kind of got one foot out the door already. And as we've seen time and time again when it comes to coaches, sometimes you got to do it by the right steps and then leave at the last second. I mean, this is the same industry that once saw, Nick Saban work an entire day and then retire, and also saw, Tommy Tuberville leave a recruit at dinner and go take a Cincinnati job. It happens. Grubb is a candidate for that open Seahawks offensive coordinator job. He's been getting introduced in meetings by Kalen DeBoer as, of course, the offensive coordinator. So for the time being, certainly operating as if he's going to stick around as the Alabama offensive coordinator. It's business as usual until it isn't, right? He's still out there recruiting. It's not like he's trying to leave Alabama in maybe the same way Chip Kelly's trying to get the hell out of UCLA right now. I would be concerned if he wasn't operating and acting the way that he is. I would hope he'd be saying, "I'm the offensive coordinator. I'm not going anywhere." We know how the coaching carousel works. We know how chaotic it can be. We've seen it several times with this program already this year. Austin Armstrong, that's a great point, Chris, was on a staff for like a week last year and then took the Florida defensive coordinator job. It happens. It's how this whole business industry, et cetera, tends to work. It's not great, it's not ideal, but this is how it operates. That's why I'm okay with the transfer portal existing, because coaches do it, players kind of have to do it as well. So what is your confidence level, assuming Ryan Grubb stays, as the Alabama offensive coordinator? Scale it for me from 1 to 10. 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. It's the pinned comment on today's video. The ad comes here on YouTube. Take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Speaking of coaching and updates here, a new assistant has been added. William, I believe it's pronounced Inge. I'm not quite sure on that one. Has been added as a coaching defensive assistant to the staff. Now, he most recently was the co-defensive coordinator at Washington, was also a defensive coordinator / linebackers coach at Fresno State. So heavy Kalen DeBoer ties, plus at Indiana for a long time as a special teams coordinator / linebackers coach. Spent some time with both the Bills and Buffalo as an assistant defensive line coach, as a defensive coordinator there too. So a lot of experience and track record here for William Inge, as frankly, this is a pretty solid defensive staff. It might not be the most household name group, but you've got a bunch of former head coaches and former defensive coordinators, et cetera. That's a pretty good staff that DeBoer's built at Alabama, even if it's not quite the staff maybe we're accustomed to seeing. Now, today's show, we'll go more in depth on William Inge here in a minute, but today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. Daily fantasy made easy. It's just you against the numbers. You're not battling thousands of other players. There's no pros and sharks and sharps, etc., that you got to try to find a way to take down. You're just battling the numbers for the NBA, for the Super Bowl, for college basketball as well. The flex play is what I will always advise people to do. Producer Chris has taken that advice to a fantastic fashion, has now hit 4 out of his 5 Alabama basketball prize picks. Against Auburn, not a great result, but more than Rylan Griffin points, hits. Mark Sears, points and assists, hits. Grant Nelson had 6 rebounds, not the less than 5.5 that was needed. It's why you do the flex play. Got 2 out of 3 right, still came out on top. You can get a $100 first deposit match on Prize Picks when you use code CLNS over at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. Back to William Inge here. He was with Kalen DeBoer and Kane Wommack at Indiana back in 2019. Of course, a long experience tracker with DeBoer as well. The report from Football Scoop is that he is going to work specifically with the linebackers, which I think would make a lot of sense because the expected title / reported title for Kane Wommack is defensive coordinator / linebacker. So you're getting a couple different hats you'll get to wear on this Bama coaching staff. There's a lot of mixing and matching involved here in terms of borderline coaching by committee. It's not just going to be, hey, you're only with this group. There's going to be a lot of blending and cross-contamination, I'll call it, on this defensive staff. The offensive coaching staff is much more stable, right? Ryan Grubb, OC quarterbacks coach. Scott Huff, offensive line. Nick Sheridan, tight ends. Robert Gillespie, backs. Jamarcus Shepard, receivers. Boom. Simple, easy, straightforward. Defensively, and I think some of these titles might change, and On3 mentioned that Colin Hitchler was going to be co-DC. You're not going to have 3 defensive coordinators. There's no way you're going to do that, even if the titles or whatever. Kane Wommack will be your lead defensive coordinator. He'll coach some linebacker stuff as well. William Inge can help him in that area. Freddie Roach will probably stay focused on the defensive line side. Maurice Linguist has some co-DC stuff. Maybe he'll be involved with some of your passing game coordinator responsibilities of designing some of your coverage stuff. He's got a DB's coach job. Hitchler and Linguist kind of fill similar roles. Probably have one work a little bit more at the corners, one a bit more at the safeties. That certainly would be Colin, given his previous track record. But you've got, by the way, between Wommack, Linguist, Hitchler, and Inge, you've got guys that were a co-DC or head coach in college football last year. And they all left those jobs to come to Alabama. That's a pretty strong move as far as I'm concerned from the coaching staff. Or group, I should say. So how do you grade the new Alabama coaching staff? Curious how you guys vote here, given some of the previous bars that Saban once set. A, B, C, D, or F in the comments section. Nick Saban has a new job already. He is joining ESPN as a College GameDay crew, as part of the GameDay crew analysts. I love it. It makes sense. Gives Saban something to do as well. Not just, only play golf and fish in his off days there. Also set to appear on NFL Draft and SEC Media Days coverage. The first assignment not yet announced. Timing-wise, maybe the NFL Draft ends up being the first one. Wouldn't be a huge shock there. We've seen coaches have some input there. And Saban, of course, has a lot of good knowledge of these current guys. Now, that might change, 4 or 5 years from now, but currently it certainly makes sense. Here's what Nick Saban said on joining ESPN's College GameDay. ESPN and College GameDay have played such an important role in the growth of college football, and I'm honored to have the best opportunity to join their team. I'll do my best to offer additional insights and perspectives to contribute to GameDay, the ultimate Saturday tradition for football fans. I'm a big fan of this move by ESPN. You're adding the coach to have insight. I think that's a really great idea. He's been a guest a bunch before. He was doing the Pat McAfee stuff as well. That might continue, by the way. I think this just makes sense. Now, is he going to be the full-on Lee Corso replacement? I don't know. Is he going to get a bunch of insight on the picks? Maybe. It's certainly possible. If and when Saban gets the pick for game day, is he ever going to pick against Alabama? What happens when it's Bama LSU, by the way? Oh, how does he go there? What happens when Michigan State's involved? Will Saban ever pick against Bama? Or do they just say, you don't have to, Nick? Because he's still kind of involved with the program, too. He's got the office, whatever. Y for yes, N for no. Sound off in the comments section. Before we go, folks, a reminder, the goal here is 20,000 subscribers by A-Day. Can you help us get there? Hit that sub button right now.